I'm back again for day 3. Today we're talking about agitation. And before I get into that, I just want to call out the elephant in the room. Like my hair keeps disappearing. Like in this background, this virtual background, my hair keeps disappearing. I checked with the customer service and they're like, you have to have a green screen. So apparently I need a green screen. If you have suggestions on green screens, let me know because it really bothers me that my hair keeps disappearing. And I know that you have noticed it too. Oh, anyway, that's my life. That story of my life, right? Okay, today we're talking about agitation. And I cannot wait to introduce you to my friend, Dr. Tanya English. Oh my word, y'all are going to love her. Like I have picked her brain several times, and it's one of those, she has such a calming presence about her. She's like, I call her the wisdom powerhouse. She knows so much about so many things. She can talk for hours about so many things regarding emotions. Um, Not only is she a soul chiropractor, she is a physical chiropractor. So she helps physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And I just love her and I can't wait for you to meet her. So let's bring on Dr. Tanya English. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, how are you? It's great to be with you, Amy. Thanks for having me.
Of course, I'm so excited. I um excuse me, loved your insight. Like I love to pick your brain. I have learned so much from you and you don't know how much you have helped me just from being who you are and sharing all that you have shared with me. So I
Well,
appreciate you
thank
so
you so
much.
much. So you're having hair issues. I'm having light issues. So you can see the light color change.
It's one
Isn't
of those
technology
days.
fun, folks? Aren't we having a great time with it?
Exactly, right? I'm like, just go with it.
Yeah.
It just is, right?
Yep. Yeah, it would be great if everything was completely stable all the time. But you know what? That's leads right into our conversation about agitation.
Yes. Well,
So,
go ahead. Tell us what you have to say about
well,
agitation.
do you
What
want to
can we
share
learn from it?
the the
Should I
definition
share
that
that
you have?
first? Yeah. Okay. We'll
Yeah,
talk about
share the
that first.
definition because that'll be good.
Okay. So when I was researching agitation, how does it feel in the body? What do we need to know about it? This is what I found, that agitation is like irritation on steroids. If you have felt this, you know that feeling. It can
Mhm.
feel like an internal restlessness that tingles beneath the surface. It's like a storm brewing inside, making you feel edgy. That I have felt that. I'm sure everyone has, but did you know that it's called agitation?
Well, people call it all kinds of different things. Agitation is just one of the words we can use. Most people call it stress. I'm feeling stress.
Yeah.
But when we get down to what the beautiful hues of all these feelings are, we have fear and we have love. And this is under the fear part. It's a negative feeling. It's not a bad feeling, it's a negative feeling. We're not going to judge our feelings by saying whether they're bad or good. We're just going to say they're negative or positive.
I love
So,
that.
negative feelings bring up um, suppression of our good feelings. So, when we express our negative feelings in a healthy way, we can release them. Now, agitation, boy, I get this. It's really one of those things where you just feel really like almost electrical. It can feel like. And so, one of the things that I've learned about that feeling is that when you stand on the ground in your bare feet or in your socks and there's nothing between you and the earth, then that's grounding and that really relieves the agitation like fast.
Wow.
So sometimes I'm working with a client and, I'm helping them move through, but it can also trigger negative feelings in me. So a lot of times between clients, I'll go out in my yard because this is a home office. So I'll go out in my yard and I'll stand on the ground in my bare feet. And now you say, well, you can't do that in the winter in Iowa, can you? I'm like, well, no, but there are other things that you can do that help ground you, like running water over your wrists. There's 12 pulses on your wrist. There's 6 pulses each, 3 shallow and 3 deep. Anybody that has done acupuncture or shiatsu knows about those pulses because all the meridians end right there. So you can run your arms and your wrists under cold water, and that will help. There's also exercises and breathing that you can do that will help ground you. One of the worst things that has happened to people in the most recent years is they have a layer of rubber between them and the ground. And that insulates you from that relieving, grounding experience of having your energy smoothed out. It really does feel like that too, but you'll have to go try it after we're done. Put your feet
Yeah.
on the ground, bare feet if you can. If you can't, socks are fine, but if you can, bare feet. And it just is like instant. It's so fast. They can barely measure it.
That's
So
fascinating. Okay, I'm
they
definitely
work.
gonna try that. I
Yeah.
need to be doing that as well.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah.
Our feet were not designed to be boxed in little rubber houses. They were designed to be running over the forest floor, hunting and gathering.
Yeah.
So what we've done is a lot of artificial life around us. Think about people that live in cities that never walk on the ground. They're never on the ground. They might be below the ground in the subway, but it's so important to have those green spaces where you can take off your shoes and put your feet in the grass and feel the earth underneath you. Part of, I believe, what's happening with the earth today is that not people have not expected to have any connection with the earth. So they just use it as a resource instead of like pulling stuff out of it, like fossil fuels, and
Mhm.
and not replenishing it because it is a living, breathing system. It's a entity that we have with us that we're meant to take care of.
Yes,
That's been a great
absolutely.
talk for today. Yeah.
No, I
So,
totally agree. I love that so much.
yeah, that disconnection is what causes the agitation, not just disconnection from the earth, but disconnection from our heart. When
Mm,
I point to myself and I say, I'm Tanya, I don't point to my head and say, I'm Tanya. I point to my heart and say, I'm Tanya. This is who I am, right? So our hearts have its own electrical activity. It has a Purkinje bundle. It has an AV node in the heart. It has more electrical activity than any other part of the body. That's why people can be brain dead and still be alive.
yeah.
So when we take away any feeling that we have in our heart, when our heart is broken, then we can easily feel agitation because we're not connected to our heart. And that's the manifestation superconductor and deep connection with source. That's where it is. So we want to go into our heart and really be there in the heart, be with ourselves in that place. And the agitation calms down. And then the other thing that you can do is a breathing technique that I teach everybody I can is 4-count breathing. So as people call it, 4-square breathing, but there's lots of different breathing techniques. This is the one that I've learned that works very quickly, so fast. I actually have a testimonial of one of my clients who was an EMT worker who did this with a man on the way to the hospital, and it kept him from going into shock and death.
Wow.
And this is how simple it is. She teaches it to all the kids that she comes into contact with. And I have people that teach it in their classrooms and gets their classroom to calm down. So you can use it all the time. And what you do is you empty all your air out. Let's do it together. Empty all your air out and then breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe normally.
Wow.
Does that feel different?
It does. It instantly calms. Like I feel much more calm.
Yeah. So what we're doing in that scientifically is we're taking you from flight or fight response into rest, digest, and heal. That's your autonomic nervous system. It only has 2 modes. It either has rest, digest, and heal, or it has fight or flight. So when you're doing that breathing, what you're doing is you're taking yourself out of fight or flight response. And when you're in fight or flight, you can't make good decisions. You can't be creative. You can't have clear thinking. In fight or flight, that's the stress response. Your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, your digestion stops. So if you're having digestive issues,
Try
Trifluid
that.
breathing.
I have part of my issue. One of my things I have is dysautonomia, which means my autonomic nervous system doesn't work well. And so I am pretty much constantly in fight or flight. And so I can attest
Don't have
to
to be.
breathing. I know breathing helps so, so much. I take deep breaths a lot, but I need to do this. I need to try this 4 box
The
breathing.
4 count breathing is really cool because you can do it. Nobody knows you're doing it. You can do it when
That's
you're
true.
listening to someone talk. You could just get used to doing it. You can start with doing it. That was just twice through. That's 32 seconds. You can take 32 seconds to balance yourself. And
Yeah.
here's the thing that's really cool about that is that you can actually allow yourself to have that experience and practice it. And pretty soon you're just doing it naturally. So if you're having trouble falling asleep at night, do 4 count breathing. If you wake up in the night, do 4 count breathing. You'll go back to sleep because you're going into rest, digest, and heal. The other thing that I do with clients to get them out of agitation is we do tapping. We do emotional freedom technique, and we're tapping on these meridian points, these acupuncture points. We're using acupressure with just our fingers. We're tapping on these points, and every time we do that, every time we're going into rest, digest, and heal. We're calming ourselves down. So
That is
agitation, what it's taught me is that's a signal that I need to take care of myself. I need to rest, digest, and heal.
that's so good. The tapping I do every morning before I get out of bed. I do a series of tapping, but I so agree with you about agitation is a signal. That's exactly what I was going to say. That's why we're on the same wavelength, Tanya.
I'm using your words.
I don't know. It's great. I
Yeah,
love it.
it
I,
really
I
is
was
a
going
signal.
to I was going to say that because the first step is recognizing that you're feeling it,
Mhm.
recognizing this is what's happening. But when I think about agitation in my life, this is going to sound horrible, but most of the time it comes around my kids, when they were younger, when they were little, like something they knew better. Why did they do that, And so I'm learning that when I feel that, it means something. What is it trying to teach me? What is it trying to show me? I need to pay attention to that feeling and try to figure out where it's really coming from.
Yeah,
It's usually not because of them. It's usually because I am stressed about something else and
yep.
they're just in the mix of that.
It's the feeling of I'm not in control. I don't know what's happening. I can't figure this out. Is a feeling of the unknown. Sometimes that's what it is. And sometimes it's a trigger from something that happened in the past. And so
Yeah.
the agitation and because we have this, I'm going to say this fast and I'm going to take it apart. Because we have subconscious emotional memories that override present time, we don't realize this is happening until we're in it. So a subconscious emotional memory, it's not conscious. You don't know that it's happening. It's subconscious and it's an emotional memory. So your body's doing the physiology of the emotion, but that isn't what's happening in present time. So your body is memorizing something because it has received information that says you're not going to survive because it only knows survive, not survive. Survive, not survive. So if it gets a signal that it's not in survival, it will do the subconscious emotional memory. And that's physiology. Every emotion has its own physiology. Like quietness is a little bit different than tranquility. And elation is a little bit different than satisfied. They're all good emotions, but they're a little bit different and they have a different physiology. Now, there's also the negative ones, and they all have their own physiology. You can think of the positive feelings as under love and the negative feelings as under fear. So there's always something fearful underneath the negative emotion. Anger is a negative emotion. What are you afraid of that's making you angry? Because you have to get down to that bottom belief, that bottom fear. And then you
Yeah.
can really address it and say, well, I'm afraid that they're not going to grow up to be good human beings. If you're talking about your kids, I'm
Right.
afraid that somebody's going to blame me for how crazy they are. I'm
Mm,
afraid that I haven't done a good job. I'm afraid that I'm inadequate. Oh, here we go. I'm afraid that I am not enough.
yeah. Yeah.
These
That's
are
most of the time what it is. Absolutely.
And
And
every parent goes through that.
I love how you say, which I totally agree. We talked about this before we came on,
Yeah.
that yes, emotions are positive and negative, but they're just they're not good or bad. They're just neutral. They just are. And
Mhm.
so we need to see them from that perspective, that it adds a whole new layer when you can see it. When I can see it from that perspective, that it's not good or bad, it just is. It's trying to teach me something. It's surfacing because it's trying to teach me something. What is the lesson I need to learn here? I need to hone in and pay attention
Yes.
to it and figure it out and go with that.
And what the 4 count breathing does is it slows you down long enough so that you don't keep going into that pattern. It slows you down so that you can go, okay, let me observe what I'm feeling instead of just feeling it and, reacting. Let me observe how I'm feeling and see what can I do to influence this and move it to the other side, positive. So this
Yes.
is what psychologists call turning nets into pets, turning negative emotional triggers into positive emotional triggers.
Mm.
So you have this
It's
negative trigger that happens with your kids, maybe, acting out, and then you go, ooh, I'm getting a negative emotional trigger. I don't need to feel negative about this. I'm going to do 4 count breathing because I can feel I'm agitated. You feel that little constriction happen, uh, right? And then you go
yeah.
into 4 count breathing and you go, what is really going on here? Let me just calm myself down so I can observe. That's the main thing that we're doing when I'm working with clients. Is first, we got to slow everything down because they're going with one thing to another, to another, to another. So we have to slow it down and just say, okay, stop. And we're going to just be here now with this feeling, acknowledge the feeling,
Yeah,
own the
yeah. It's
feeling, honor the
so
feeling.
so good. I love that so much. It reminds me of the system that I created, the emotional frequency, that they are low level, we can move them up to the higher level, but it is a process. We have to acknowledge where we are and know that we can move up, but we have to be willing to do what it takes to get there. Okay, let me go ahead and pop up this image. You
Oh,
have
yeah.
watched the others. You
That's
have
neat.
seen that I took an AI image generator and I asked it to create an image for me that represents these different emotions. And so this is the one it created for the emotion agitation. I'm curious. I'm excited for you to see this because an AI generator does not have emotions, but when you ask it to create something that is emotional, it's pretty good. Like, okay, I'm going to add this here and then let me make it full screen so we can see this. Check this
Isn't that
out.
wild?
Isn't
Yeah,
it wild?
I love
It
that.
just when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's perfect." Like, that is agitation. Like, it's everywhere. It feels there's chaos. There's almost like explosion in there.
Yep.
It's just, oh
And
my
the
goodness.
dripping, like it's running over. It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
It's running over. It's really interesting. Everything everywhere all at once, right there.
Yeah. Right. Right. And you can see there's like a what's supposed to be like a square in the middle that
Mhm.
it's disfigured. And
Yeah, it
so
has a
it's like,
fish running through it, it looks like.
yeah, like that's us, but we're not, like we're disfigured. There's something wrong. There's something not wrong, but there's something, trying to tell us something there.
There's confusion for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
I wonder
yeah.
what confusion looks like as compared to agitation. So
I
I'd be
have that
interested
one.
to see that. Do you have it? Oh, I know
I
it's
have it.
coming up. I know it's coming up.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that it shows it like that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it
It
feels
it
like.
blows my mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I said, it doesn't know emotion, but when you ask it, it comes up with something like that.
We
Some of
know what it
them,
feels like in us. And when I'm talking to clients about this and I'm saying, what do you look like in this picture of yourself having this experience? What are you looking like? They'll say, I'm small, my face is red, or we're talking about a toxic person in their life. They'll describe them as big and huge and ugly or whatever. It doesn't look right. So people have this experience of being able to imagine what this looks like in their mind. And
yeah.
that's pretty good representation.
Yeah, I think that one was pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
So, so good. All right. Well, I think our time is up here.
Yeah.
Dr.
Thank you.
Tanya, I'm so, so thankful and honored that you would spend this time with us. I would
Absolutely.
love to share your information with my friends because I have said before, everybody needs a Tanya in their life. Like literally, everybody needs a Tanya. And so share with us how they can get a hold of you, how they can find you so that they can learn more about you.
You can go to quantumhealinginternational.com, or you can go to healingwiththeblues.com.
Oh, the
Either one
Tanya's
of
gonna
those.
I just spoiler alert, Tanya's going to be back to share more with us in a month or so because oh my word, the story she's going to share, oh, it's going to be an extended episode because I want her to share the whole story. But I am really looking forward to hearing you share that story, which again, that's coming up. I'm not going to say anything else about it, but oh, so
Thank you,
good.
Amy. I'm
Yeah,
so
of
grateful.
course, of
Grateful to
course.
you and so happy that you're doing this work. It's wonderful.
Oh, I'm so glad. It's funny. You will understand this. From my perspective, I'm like, it's stirring inside. Like, this has to happen. I have to share this. And
Yep.
I'm so excited and I'm so passionate about it. But the way it's received, I just don't know. Like, I don't know unless people tell me how it's
You got to
received.
release yourself, release your attachment to the outcome. That's the hardest thing in healing to do, is to release your
Yeah.
attachment to the outcome. You just send it out there. Let it
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Right. I feel like I'm doing my part. I'm doing
You
what
are.
I'm supposed to do. And however it's received is how it's received. But I know
Definitely.
it's something I have to do. So
Absolutely.
I'm so excited that you're willing to be a part of it. All right, we're going to get off here. Thank you all so much for watching and tuning in. Please, if this has helped you at all or you think it can help others, please share it. Um, Let me know if you would like to be featured on one of these series. I would love to involve you. I have a list of people already, but there's always room for more. So I would love for you to be involved. Okay, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.